Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Mobley, and I'm a lead educator here at Wonders of Wildlife National Museum and Aquarium. I want to thank you guys for joining us for this very special Animals and Culture live stream. If you're new here, welcome. Along with all of the live streams that we do every month, we also offer a free virtual scavenger hunt that you can play right at home through the Agents of Discovery app. To download the app and explore all of our learning materials we offer, go to www.wondersofwildlife.org/mission-conservation. On this page, click one of the boxes to the right that says Get the App and hit that download button. Follow the instructions, and once you have that app downloaded, create a user account and log in. Always make sure that you are logged into your account to track your progress and earn some awesome rewards. After you are logged into your account, click that search bar and type in Mission Conservation. This is how you are going to find all of our at-home missions for you to play. Every at-home mission we create includes an activity guide that has a craft and also a super cool outdoor activity as well. If you look a little bit further down on that Mission Conservation page, you will see a featured missions section. This displays our most current missions, like our Animals and Culture mission with Agent Bison. Under our featured missions, you will see a schedule of missions and activities. This section will show you all of our missions that are currently live. If you click on one of the plus signs and drop down the tab, you will find the link to the activity guide for that month. Lastly, if you are in the Ozark area and looking for more missions, be sure to check out Wonders of Wildlife, Dogwood Canyon, and Ozark Heritage Preserve for more fun. At the bottom of this page is where you will find many of our partners' missions as well. Today, we are learning about animals and their important role they play in cultures all around the world. Nez Perce National Historic Trail was established by the U.S. Congress in 1968. It stretches from Oregon to Montana and is 1,170 miles long. Our first speaker today is James Holt. He was raised at Nez Perce Reservation. From a young age, James was taught how to hunt, fish, and harvest food like berries and roots. James is a Nez Perce tribal member and works at Buffalo Field Campaign. But without further ado, here's James Holt.
Tatsala, good afternoon. It's my honor to be with you here today, and I'll start right in with my story. A long time ago, the human beings were coming, and Coyote, he went to Grizzly Bear, and he told him that the human beings were coming. And Grizzly Bear, he went out from his home, and at that time, there was a little boy who was lost from his village. He went all over the mountains looking for his village, his mother, and his father. He came upon Grizzly Bear, and Grizzly Bear, he grew upset. He grew angry at that boy. He reared up on his hind legs. Roar, he says, "So, you're the Nee-Me-Poo, the Hotswell, who would come and take my homeland." The little boy, he stood there, and Grizzly Bear, he says, "With one paw, I will swipe you. I will kill you easily, and I'll have you for my dinner." The little boy, he stands there and he says, "Yes, if you hit me, I will die. And that is a part of life, so everything will be all right." And Grizzly Bear, he steps closer, then he stops and he says, "What is this? I have never seen this before. All the other beings, they cower and they run when I roar. They are afraid of me. But this little being here, this boy, he showed me something different. He showed me that he is brave like the bear, that he is wise like Coyote, that he has the honor of Eagle. Yes, it is time. And so Grizzly Bear, he tells the boy, climb onto me and I will show you. And he lowers his shoulder and the boy climbs up on him and he grabs into the fur and he begins taking him up into the mountains. And he shows him all the stuff that is there. And he shows him the streams, the water. He shows him the fish in there and that they're good to eat. He shows him Toxpole, the beaver, and how the beaver knocks down the trees and makes dams, makes it easier for them to catch fish. And he goes on up into the mountains. He shows him Saslox, the bull moose, Wawukya, the bull elk, and Emus, the white-tailed deer. And he says they're plentiful here and they're good to eat. And on he goes up the mountains. And as he goes way up at the top of the mountain, he swiped the tree with his claw. And he says, so that the people will remember this trail and this way. And then he goes up to the highest peak and he looks down across and he sees the plains of the rising sun, the home of the buffalo. And he says, this is the buffalo country. Your people will go here and they'll have buffalo and it'll be good. And they turned around, they started going back. And he began showing the boy more things. Look, there's camas, huckleberries, service berries, and choke cherries. He showed the boy these things. He showed him how to prepare for them. And on they went down through the Wiyat prairies. And then he went down into the Camas Valley, overlooking the Kamai, and he's seeing his people in the village. He says, there's your people now. Go there and tell them what I have shown you. Tell them it was because you were brave, wise, and honorable that I have taught you these things. And so the boy, he went down there happily. He climbed down and he told the people, his mother and father, what had been shown to him by Grizzly Bear, and it was good. And so this is the story of how the Nez Perce peoples were shown the Buffalo Trail and how they began to journey there. And it was at the wisdom of Grizzly Bear. Yochkalot. That is all. Thank you. And now we'll switch to the next speaker.
Wow, thank you so much, James, for that beautiful story. Bison are wonderful animals, and that story has such a meaningful history behind it. Thank you for sharing it with us. Our next speaker is Stacia Morfin. She was born and raised at Nez Perce Country. She is the owner of the Traditions Gift Shop and the Chief Executive Officer of the Nez Perce Tourism LLC. Stacia is going to talk to us about Appaloosa horses and the significance that they have in her culture. How are you today, Stacia?
Imakas Katsiaya. Inam Wanikwas Kusnim Kasknuat. So Yapa Wanikwas Stacia Morphine Tots Ekpa'ain. What I said in the Nee-Me-Poo, Tim, that is the Nez Perce language, is a big thank you to Sarah. My name is one who takes care of water, also known as Stacia Morphine. Tots Ekpa'ain is a big welcome. Welcome to Nee-Me-Poo country, in which we are covering segments of that today. Today, all throughout today's session, you'll hear me refer to ourselves as a nation as Nee-Me-Poo. So say it with me. Nee-Me-Poo. Nee-Me-Poo. And what that means, it's a direct translation, which means the people, also known as the Nez Perce people. Our ancestral homelands are very beautiful, vast, and pristine. Our homeland stretches across present-day states of Idaho, Washington, Oregon, Montana, and even down into Wyoming, which to us is Buffalo country. So when we break down the word, in which I'll have you shown on the screen here, this word is very, very important to us, and so is our language. And the direct translation of this word is migrating to Buffalo country. And we would like to focus on Buffalo today for the mere fact that this is what this very important and sacred trail is named, is migrating to Buffalo country. Buffalo are a huge staple for us, not only for our foods, but also for our homes. We use their skins for teepees. We use their robes for clothing, especially in the cold winter months. They keep us very, very warm. But what is so important about this word that I would like shared on the screen, it's ku, sai, ne, iskit. Kusaina iskit. So ku, sai, iskit. Kusaina iskit. And that means migrating to buffalo country. Today, it is also known as the Lolo Motorway, or also the Nee-Me-Poo Nez Perce National Historic Trail. And that's what we're talking about today. When Mr. James Holt talked about this beautiful legend, which I hope you were able to identify, maybe it was with the grizzly bear, Yaka. Maybe it was with Tuxpole, the beaver. Maybe it was Itziyaya you've identified with as coyote. No matter who that might have been, we would like to share with you the values of the Nee-Me-Poo, the Nez Perce people, and the importance of the values that we have within our culture of yesterday, as well as today, and especially for tomorrow. Some of those values also include the respect for all things. That is something that we Nee-Me-Poo believe in still today, is that we have this beautiful interconnectedness with not only each other, you and I, but also all other living things. As you look around behind me on the screen, you'll see a beautiful picture that was taken at Packer Meadows, a renaming ceremony that is very important to the Nee-Me-Poo people. Camas, a traditional food that we gathered, was mentioned in the legend story. This photograph was taken at Camas Meadows this last year, June 25th of 2022. And you see beautiful relatives of ours. And by relatives, I'm not just talking about the human beings, the beautiful folks on horseback, the Sikkim, the Maman, the Appaloosa horse. But you also see the trees, you see the grass, you see the air, you see the clouds. Can you imagine yourself in this moment being with the Sikkim, the Maman, the relatives, the elements all around us? It creates such a special connectiveness, and that's what we like to help you understand today. So all living organisms, including us, we all need the same 5 elements to survive. Does anybody have any idea of what those 5 elements might be? What do we all need moment by moment to survive? We all need air. We all need water. We all need land. We all need light. And we all have a living spirit. Every single one of us here today in this session, every single one of our family members, our friends, our teachers, our classmates, even the trees, the air, the insects, the winged relatives. In my hand, you see I have an eagle fan, which is very, very important to our people. Even the eagles have a living spirit. The dress that I'm wearing today is made of emus, of white-tailed deer. They have a living spirit. They're also known as our 4-legged. So when we look at worldviews holistically and think about how much more connected we are to each other and all the living organisms around us, it really creates that respect for all things that we would like to foster with you all today. Another one of our major cultural values is to listen with your heart and your mind. So today, as we sit here and learn the legends and history of the Nee-Me-Poo, we want you to be able to listen with your heart and listen with your mind, to authentically be able to listen and to hear and to feel the words and the stories that are being shared. That is what will create a positive, mesmerizing impact for the information to stay upon your heart. So when it is time for you to share history, information, perhaps a legend of the Nee-Me-Poo people, you'll be able to share so with such grace and admiration of what you've just heard today. So those 2 values are very important for us. Again, respect for all things. We are all connected, every living organism. And 2, authentically listen with your heart and your mind. When we think about storytelling and oral history, traditional ecological cultural knowledge, I would not be able to sit here with you today to help share these things if an elder hadn't told me these things. and hadn't trusted me with the responsibility of holding this information to share with you all today. So we're very, very excited to have you here today. We love that we get to talk about some of our very important relatives. Again, I would like to show a beautiful horse, also known as Sikkim or Mammon, specifically the Appaloosa horse. And if you're not familiar with the Kaya doll, she's an American doll that represents the Nee-Me-Poo Nez Perce in a very important way. If you're interested in learning more about Kaya and what she has to do with her stories, please look her up. She has a beautiful collection of not only reading materials, but also a collection of historical modern models such as the horse. You can see here that the horse is decorated in different things such as a buckskin saddle, similar to my dress. She has a baby board, cradle board, hanging from her neck. This is the way in which we traveled. So when we look at the amount of miles that was shared earlier and how long the Nez Perce National Historic Trail is, that was 1,070 miles long. If you can imagine, before the Nee-Me-Poo acquired the Appaloosa horse in the 1700s, I want you to know that we walked that trail as a people with our moccasins. That was 2,340,000 steps we walked with our moccasins. Our moccasins were our first mode of transportation, originally made out of moose, elk, and deer hides. This is what took us to buffalo country, to Cosigna-Isket, the place of migrating buffalo. When we acquired the Appaloosa horse in the 1700s, it was like accruing a new desktop or phone. It was a huge technology for us. So it not only created the way that we moved throughout our trail systems, it also allowed us to be able to carry a lot more. These horses are very strong beings. You can see their vibrant colors and their spots on their rear ends. This is very significant to the Appaloosa horse. Very, very important relative to us. But not only did it change our mode of transportation, it changed the longevity in which we traveled to and from trails such as this. When we think about taking 3 to 6 months, to travel the 1,170-mile trip, that was a very, very long time. And this trail was used for thousands and thousands of years. Families, bands of Nee-Me-Poo, villages, a lot of people navigated through this trail system to be able to celebrate, commemorate, to come together, to share food, to gather food, to take care of themselves in a good way. And we do highly encourage you as our allies to be able to share parts of this trail with us. This trail can be used as so many different things. There are first highways ever made in North America. Every single inch of United States is Native American land. So I highly encourage you to identify, I wonder whose homeland I am on right now. I wonder whose homeland my house sits on. I wonder when we go camping, whose original homeland is that? It could be the Nee-Me-Poo. It could be the Blackfoot. It could be the Salish Kootenai. All across what is known as present-day United States is an indigenous homeland. And I highly recommend asking yourself, Googling it, asking your teacher, your parents, and to learn about these places and to be able to share that with your friends, with your families, with your teachers, with your schools, and to be able to be that voice for indigenous people to say, hey, don't forget, this town may be called Lewiston, Idaho, but originally it was homeland and still is of the Nee-Me-Poo people. It's called Seminicum. It's where the two rivers meet. So we have a place name and a word for every single place our ancestors have visited. And that is why it's so important for us to start out in our original language. When I started this presentation, I honored you by having that connection with my ancestors, by introducing myself and greeting you in a good way. I want you to feel comfortable and confident in helping understand who we are as Nee-Me-Poo people as we move forward to grow. And when we look at this trail, I want you to spend time outdoors. It is very healing. The best teachers we can ever imagine are outdoors, and sometimes we can't even see them. Sometimes we can only hear them. Birds flying by, whistling by, maybe just playing and enjoying their lives. You know, what are the cultural values we can learn from the birds? When we look at this hat, this is called a liskow. This hat is very, very important. If I were to take it off and show it to you, the inner side of this liskow looks like the inner part of a bird's nest, in which we're always taught never get too close to a bird's nest, right? Only look, but don't touch. We want to make sure that the future generations of birds keep going back to that home, just like the Nee-Me-Poo. We want to make sure that when we travel through campsites and through our historic landscape, that you want to make sure that you don't disturb anything as you go there, because you want to make sure that your future friends, family, Nee-Me-Poo can travel back to these places. But what's really beautiful about this hat is that even when you look inside, you know, just like the birds, what they do is they create their nests out of things that we either accidentally or intentionally discard. It could be pieces of rope or pieces of string, things that people throw out of their cars, things that we don't want on our landscape, right? What the birds do is they go and pick those pieces up. They're our first recyclers. They show us what sustainability is. They pick those things up, they take them to their home, and they weave together, just like this basket hat is home for future generations. When I say that I'm a Nee-Me-Poo Ayat, a Nez Perce woman, one of the indicators that you can see if you're out at a social gathering, perhaps a powwow if you've ever been, which I highly recommend, the Plateau women or the Nez Perce women, if they're wearing a traditional regalia, this outfit is called regalia, you'll see them have a basket hat on. That's their first indication that you may be coming in contact with a Nee-Me-Poo, a Nez Perce woman, or perhaps a Plateau woman. These things are very, very important to our people, and it shows us the matriarch societies in which we come from. Women are very important, and that's a cultural value within itself. Always respect your women. Listen to your elders. Give the chance for the kids to be able to learn and to grow from the women and the elders. They carry this knowledge, this very sweet sense to be able to help you move forward with your guidance and your ways. We love that you're able to share this time with us today. There's a few other things that we want to help make sure that you understand that there are more resources if you're interested in learning more about Native Americans, the Nee-Me-Poo, the Nez Perce. There's a really beautiful online application that you can subscribe to. And what it is, it's called Agents of Discovery, and it's hosted by the Nez Perce National Historical Trail to help interpret the trail and other heritage sites where you can participate in virtual missions. So just think about the little bit of time we had together and all of the things that you learned, right? How important were some of the things that you learned? And maybe this is the first time you've ever even met a Native person. I'm very, very glad if this is your first, and it's just such an honor to be able to meet you. But what this does is the Nez Perce Trail Mission helps players understand the importance of 1877. And that is just a small glimpse of the history of the trail. Like we said before, there's been thousands and thousands of years of knowledge passed down from generation to generation, right? Listen with your heart and your mind, oral history, be able to preserve that knowledge and that information. But when I talk about how long we've been here in Turtle Island or the Pacific Northwest, I want to call out one more place name, and that is Tamumna. Tamumna. The breakdown of Tamumno, that is the hummingbird, the place of the hummingbird. It is also known as the Salmon River. So just recently, there was an archaeological find on the Salmon River on Tamumna that dates our people, the Nee-Me-Poo, being back here for 15,000 years. That's 15,000 years. So if there's any scientists in the room, raise your hand. If there's any future engineers in the room, raise your hand. If there's any future anthropologists, mathematicians, marketers, every single industry that you can imagine helps the Nee-Me-Poo finally come to the reality of how long we've actually been here. See, 15,000 years with this archaeological find on the Salmon River, We know that we've been here a lot longer through the oral histories, through the traditions, from authentically listening with our hearts and our minds. We know we've been here a lot longer. So we're looking for you as future leaders in these industries to be able to invent something new that will show evidence that we've been here a lot longer. So as far as science and technology advances, I can guarantee you in another 5 years, with your help, they'll say, aha, they've actually been here another 5,000 years longer. We found evidence that the Nee-Me-Poo have been here for 20,000 years now. And just to give you a perspective of what was happening 15,000 years ago on this planet, that was the age of the woolly mammoth and the saber-toothed tiger. The saber-toothed tiger wasn't necessarily in our region, but that's what was here then. These oversized animals that roamed our continent. That's what was here when my people were here. And it is such a privilege and honor to still be here today, to be able to dress in my regalia, to showcase you the love, respect, and honor that we have for ourselves, our people, but most importantly for you as you continue to grow in your education and your knowledge, and to be able to share the information that you learned with your friends. So with that, again, I highly recommend following the Agents of Discovery, hosted by the Nez Perce National Historic Trail, looking up information if this is something that has really ignited you inside about learning more about the Native American, especially the homelands in which you work, play, and go to school. We ask that when you do visit our homelands, such as our historical sites or our heritage sites, that you please respect them. Make sure you clean up after yourselves. But more importantly, we want you to take that moment of self-reflection. Maybe lay in the grass. Take that moment of silence to listen to the water, to hear the fish jump across the way, to listen to the birds playing as they travel near you and by you. Look at the insect that's finding its way through its portals underground. And ask yourself, what is my connection with this land? What is my connection with this moment here? We hope that you're able to find that sense of peace and that sense of belonging, and that you make the ties to the land such as we've had for thousands and thousands of years. Imak is Katsiaya. Thank you.
Wow, it is truly amazing to hear the stories about the buffalo and the Appaloosa horses and your culture and how they play such a big role still to this day. I want to give a very special thank you to James and Stacia for being here with us today and giving us some wonderful information about different animals and culture. I also want to give a very special thank you to anyone who tuned in with us live and those of you who might be finding this video a little bit later down the road. If you like today's program, please show us some support by giving us a thumbs up underneath this video. You can also check out our YouTube page to see all of our past live streams. If you would like to know what we have coming up in the future and want to keep up with our videos, be sure to subscribe. Our next video will be on January 24th with Bar Lake State Park and the Bird Conservatory of the Rockies. As we end our live stream today, I want to remind everyone to make an impact, always connect with nature, and we'll see you guys next time.